All right, everybody. Hey, well, this is meeting one tonight. My partner, who is normally sitting right beside me, he is down in Florida preparing for Hurricane Helene. He does storm work, and they got called out a couple of days ago. But anyway, my name's Anthony. I'm here at our lakeside studio here on beautiful Smith Lake in Coleman, Alabama. And we had the pleasure of kind of doing like a dual type podcast with a young man named Seth Fryer. He has a podcast called the Midwest Minute. Pretty cool podcast. I know down here in the South, we don't think a lot about the Midwest, but if you're a turkey hunter or a deer hunter, I bet you think about the Midwest. So anyway, he reached out to us and wanted to do a podcast with us. And we decided it would kind of be, a back and forth, and he would put it on his podcast. And if we could use it, we would do the same. So I went through it and sounded pretty good to me. Talked it over with Dustin, and he approved it as well. So anyway, I thought I'd give you this little introduction to let you know it's not our typical type podcast, but it's still very interesting. We talk ice fishing and turkey populations in South Dakota and weather. It's pretty interesting. You guys give it a listen.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys working this out with me. I actually found you guys via Facebook. I think it was like the Northern Alabama fisherman or something like that.
North Alabama sportsman. Yep.
Yes. Yep. That was the one. Yep.
Yeah.
I found you guys through that.
That's a friend of ours, Mike Wells.
Okay.
Him and Chris Goodwin, they're the ones that started that, and Mike's actually owns a plumbing business, and that's how I met him. And I think Anthony knew him through the plumbing business.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I own a heating and air conditioning company. So.
Oh, nice.
We all kind of no, it's not that nice.
I do and I own an excavating business, so that's kind of I put in septic systems and stuff like that. So it's just kind of how we all met, I guess, through work.
Yeah. Cool. Perfect. How long have you guys been running your podcast then?
What, February?
Yeah, February.
We got started last February. We're only on like episode 28. We've missed a week or two here and there.
Yeah, I know how that goes.
Well, we've been working very hard. We finally we were doing it in my wife's off her dining table, and we've been in there since February. And back in June, late June, somewhere, she told me she had enough of it. She wanted all of our crap off her table, so we built us a studio. We're actually outside the house in our new little studio.
This is our third episode.
Yeah, this will be the third time recording in here
from the lakeside studio.
I live on a lake, so yeah, we call it the lakeside studio.
Oh, nice.
So
perfect, awesome. Heck yeah, I'm in my basement, in my studio room that I have in our house. So mine was a lot of the same way. Mine started at the kitchen table, and then my wife told me about the same thing, and we have two kids. One, she's 2, and the other, she's 3 months. And it just got to be kind of where there was no way that I could do this with kids running around the house and bawling and screaming. So that's what we did. So I've been in here this has been a couple months now. So I get that. It's nice when you can transition out of it a little bit. So get your own space with it.
It really is. And what we did was take an old storage building I actually had here at my house. It was about to fall in, and we completely gutted it. And I'll send you some pictures of it. But it's just very rustic, and we haven't got all of our decorations and that kind of stuff put up. But it's going to work really well. I think it's going to work well.
We actually used a rough cut pine that I took off a lot when I cleared it, and then we planed the inside down so it's smooth, but it's all this board footage come out of off a job I did, a clearing job.
So, oh, nice.
Yeah, we didn't.
Awesome.
The only thing we bought was some metal for the roof and the ceiling, and some flooring. Everything else came out of the forest, I guess.
Yeah, and a restoration.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty nice. We're
Awesome.
happy to have it. Happy to have somewhere to go, like
Cool.
I said, so you don't. My dogs bark, and had to lock them up, and the wife would go downstairs. We'd forget to tell her we were through, recording, and so
Yeah, I get that.
Or the two wives get to talking, and we're watching the meter spike on the board, and we're like texting them, "Hey, y'all got to quieten it down a little bit." But
Yeah, 100%. Awesome. Well, I think we could just roll it. Like I said, mine is very informal. We could just talk kind of about when you started, how it started, why it started. Maybe give a little introduction to yourself. Where are you guys from?
Well,
Actually, I haven't even ever asked that.
well, I live in a little town called Crane Hill. It's in the county of Coleman, Alabama. And Dustin,
Okay.
I live in a little town called Addison, and it's in Winston County, Alabama.
and
Okay.
I was listening. I have listened to a couple of your podcasts and going back through, and we have a lot of similarities. I mean, I grew up in a town with less than 500 people in it. This little town probably doesn't have 300 people in it. Takes me more than 30 minutes to get to Walmart.
Yeah.
So, I drive an hour and 10 minutes one way to work every day. So
I graduated with 28 kids.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think I had 35 in my class.
Yeah. And like where I went to school, it's from kindergarten to 12th grade. It's all on one place. There's no middle school.
Oh, yeah.
Just small town.
Yeah.
I'm an old man.
Yeah.
So,
Well, age, we don't discriminate on age here,
no.
so that's all right.
It seems like I used to didn't think of myself as old until I started hanging around with Dustin, and everywhere we go, it seems like I'm the oldest one in the group. So
Everybody thinks Anthony's my dad.
yeah. We travel turkey hunt all over. So, then matter of fact, this spring in Oklahoma, we were trying to get a room that night, and the guy kept questioning us: did we have pets, and did we have this and that? And Dustin said, "It's only me and my dad." And I mean, I would have had to be 12 when I'd have been 12 when I was his father, I guess. I'm 59. So, I mean, I am getting up there, but
I'm 43.
So I guess,
Okay.
I'm son.
Yeah. I'm 30, so you guys got me by a ways.
Well, I've got a son that's 30. I've got one that's 33. I've got a daughter that's,
Okay.
yeah, they're all about your age.
I've got a 21 and 21-year-old and about to be 14-year-old. So
I've got grandkids your children's age, so I guess I am an old guy. I still get around pretty good though. I can still chase those turkeys, and that's all I care about.
yes.
Right.
Perfect.
Is that when I saw that, I seen it, and is that a play on words? Is that what that is?
Yes.
Is it supposed to be like okay?
So
Because I was reading it and I'm like, go ahead.
Well,
go ahead, Anthony.
Well, when we were discussing the name, and we have a lot of time to talk because we travel a lot turkey hunting and stuff, so we're on the road a lot. And we came up with meat and two. We hunt, so we take animals. And that was kind of the meat part of it. But then, I thought, well, but if we start this podcast, we're going to be meeting people. So it was kind of a play on, I wanted it could go both ways. I mean, I know it's, meet people is, got two E's, and the meat you eat is EA. So, but we left it EA. It may confuse people.
Yeah.
I assume when people Google names or looking for a podcast and they see meat and two, they might think we're a little diner or something, but it's worked so far. So
we were actually in a diner in Florida turkey hunting when we come up with this name.
We were in Florida turkey hunting when we came up with the name. We were
Awesome.
We were, I think, in Texas the first time we talked about the podcast.
Yeah,
we are actually doing one, because you'll see if you can understand our great Southern lingo now that we can talk, and that was one of the things that my wife had always told me. You can talk. So, two things. She told me I need to go should have a podcast, and because we do talk a lot together. And she told me to go ahead and put an application to be on that show alone. She said you could do it. She said you like being by yourself too much. So my only fear is making a fire, and I don't like cold weather. So
mine tries to sit down on all the survival shows. She's like, "You'll eat anything." I said, "Let me get hungry. I will eat anything. It's not a problem."
So yeah, I couldn't winter.
If I was hungry enough, I'd eat anything.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's what I've thought.
Well, as long as it wasn't somewhere cold, you'd be okay.
Well, we came, actually, May was a year ago. We came to, we was in Rockersville, kind of where I was when we were texting or messaging back and forth. We came up there to get our Merriam turkey, and it was in, May 15th, something like that. Yeah. And it was like 40 degrees and rainy, and I'm going, that's Christmas weather here. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, that. If we had that on Christmas, we'd be all wearing shorts and t-shirts up here.
That's what we do. I wear shorts most every Christmas. We get out and play basketball and throw the football.
Yeah,
we
fish.
Don't get. I assume we don't get to do that on
Christmas. We can fish.
Yeah, but you got to drill a hole in the ice, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
No.
Yeah, and we got to walk out on it and drill a hole in it, and then we hope that the lake's deep enough that it didn't freeze completely to the bottom and kill every fish out of there, so we can actually get a fish. So it just depends on how cold it is and how cold it was before then. But lately, it hasn't been. Most of our winters here, the last two for sure, have not been. I don't know. The fishermen would say they haven't been good winters, and the normal human would say they've been okay they've been good winters. So I mean, it just kind of depends, but it's been pretty good, but that also means the ice has been terrible. So there has been much of that going on up here last couple winters. So we've had to go farther north to go fishing for us, but it's been all right. Well, so yeah, that's what, I mean, 40 and rainy that's nice for us here. For sure, but we also see the negative 40 and snow.
Oh, so, yeah. No, listen.
Toss up.
When my wife and I were up there a couple of weeks ago, we drove over in Wyoming to just see Devil's Tower. And we stopped in some little, I can't tell you the name of the town, one of those little towns that have 400 or 500 people in it, and stopped at a little steakhouse and had dinner. And the girl asked us where we were from. And she said, it's good to hear the accent, because she was from North Carolina and she had moved over. She was young, but her parents had owned a place out there and sold it. But when she got out of college, I guess she thought she'd come try it out there. I guess. I don't know why, but you live out there, you know how far it is in between towns and little cities and stuff like that. And that's what I thought. I said, being from the South, and they're a little further north than us, so they get probably a little more snow than we do. I said, how are you enjoying the winters? And she said, well, they tell me they haven't been bad the last 2 years. And she said, we'll get negative 50 for a week, maybe 2 weeks. And that's about as bad as it gets. And I said, I don't even want to be a negative 50 for 2 minutes, much less 2 weeks. So, I couldn't do it.
The cool part is like once it hits zero, it's pretty much all the same. Like you don't really realize it because it's just the same. You go out with, wet hair, it's going to freeze, it's just the way it is. But
I guess it's like
here. Yeah. Last year, it was about a week we had of that.
I assume it's similar here. If we get to 100 and it's 100% humidity, if it's 105 with 100% humidity, we don't really know the difference, or really 90 with 100% humidity. And we get, the South here is very humid. So
See, so on our side of when you came up to South Dakota, you were on the west side of the river. So the east side where I'm at, it's completely different worlds. So like here on this side, it's flat prairie. You can see for miles. There's zero mountains. There's a couple hills. That's about it. And here it gets humid hot. There, you don't really get the humidity over on that side. It's different. And then they'll get snow, but it'll be like 2 foot of snow in a matter of a day or two. And then the next week it'll be 60 degrees and it's gone. and then they'll get cold, and then it'll do the same thing. Like if it snows where I'm from let's say it snowed here October, that snow probably has a solid chance of still being here when it thaws out in, April, May. It could still be here just because once we get cold, it just stays cold. For them, they fluctuate a lot more. And then depending where you're at there, like you get into the Custer area, the more like that Deadwoody area, that your elevation changes. And there they get funky weather because they're higher up in the world. But it's just completely different here. Like our animals are different here than over there. They got the elk, they have antelope, they have their deer, but we have whitetail, they don't. And there's bears apparently over there. I've never seen a bear, and I've traveled out there a bunch, but I've never seen one. But it's a completely different climate than it is on my side of the river. So and just completely different world. I mean, they have rattlesnakes. We don't have a single rattlesnake here on this side. That's one thing that's nice. But
yeah, I did see some, watch out for rattlesnake signs when we were in the Badlands and, doing some hiking around. So, yeah.
So so do you guys have turkeys, and what's the population like on the east side?
We do. It varies by what part of the east side you're on. If like southern, you're not going to find some. Where I'm at, they actually about 3 or 4 years ago, the local game fish and parks actually started kind of stocking our area with turkeys. We used to never have any. I never saw one in my part of the world growing up. And now you'll see flocks running around quite frequently. I was just the other day going over to a town just about 12 miles from me. And in between here and there was 2 decent flocks. As far as a total, what it's like, you go farther north from me about an hour and a half, you can get into some pretty good turkey hunting up in that part of the world. It's not real big. It's never been real pushed in where I'm from. I mean, I've never turkey hunted a day in my life at all. I've hunted waterfowl and deer, but never turkey. I've never hunted a turkey before.
Well, you find the turkey and we'll take you turkey hunting.
Yeah, we'll make a trip.
Well, I can definitely do that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's no problem at all.
Well, I guess with what you do for a living, I mean, you should have some good properties to hunt if with all the agricultural stuff. Yeah,
that's very well. And the thing too is we do have a decent amount of public land. I mean, we really do. It's a little bit of a pain, but like you get in with the right hunt with the right people, you can get some pretty good land to hunt on because it like I said, it's wide open. You drive out of a small town to get to your next one, and you can see for miles, and all you got to do is find out who owns that land. And for the most part, people don't mind it. And I mean, it got to a point there where hunting here became pheasant hunting really kind of did it for us because it got to be very publicized. People came from everywhere. People were monetizing it like crazy, and that's kind of fell off in the last few years. In my mind, I just don't see that as much as we used to. So getting the land to hunt them is very easy to do, 100%. Which, yeah, it would be fun. Like I said, I've watched TV shows, done it. I've seen it, looked at them. I've seen them running around, but I've never hunted one at all.
Well, if you do, I'll just tell you, it's a disease. You can't be cured from it. I've been doing it since I was 17 or 18 years old, and it never gets old.
Really?
A deer.
So you guys, I mean,
I deer hunt, and we have a very, very liberal and long deer season here. And I just do that to kill time, basically. So waiting on March.
Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have, so then you have a decent population of turkey in that part of the world then?
Yes. Obviously? Like everybody else, we've had a decline. I think we're on a rebound personally from what I've been seeing. Dustin can probably say the same thing. We're seeing, the last couple of years, we're seeing a lot of, poults and, larger flocks around here and there. They're still scattered around South Alabama. East Alabama has a lot. There's a good bit of turkeys up this way. So
yeah.
They're at one time we had, I mean, and I still think we have probably one of the most liberal bag limits. We can take 4. Yeah, four
Oh, wow.
in a combined spring and fall season, although I've never hunted the fall season.
We're going to change that.
Yeah, we're going to try it this year just to say we did it. But that counts towards a 4. But we travel so much now in the spring, we don't get to hunt Alabama like we did when we were just homebodies. So I did kill, I killed 3 here this year, and I called one in for my son, who's about he's a little older than you. He's 33. He had not killed a turkey since he was, I don't know, 9 or 10, something like that when I carried him. He just never really cared anything about it. But in the past few years, though, he started deer hunting again, and he hunts a lease I have down in South Alabama. And then I bought a little 40-acre tract. I know up in your part of the world, 40 acres is probably nothing compared to 40,000 people own, these cattle guys and stuff.
Yeah.
But we have about, I don't know what the last population of turkey, when they estimated our population. Did you get a number?
No.
I think we killed about 50,000 this past year, turkeys.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the state. And same way with deer. We have, I think we have 1.2 or 1.3 million deer here in the state of whitetail in Alabama. So we're allowed, at one time we could kill a buck and a doe a day.
The whole season.
The entire season. Our season starts archery season starts October 15th and goes to November 20th, something like that.
Yeah, somewhere
in there. And then it's firearm season from, let's just say mid-November. We'll say 15th to 20th. It depends on how the
usually
weekend falls.
the weekend before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So once firearm season comes in, you can still take a doe a day. Well, and you're limited now to 3. We get $3 a year. One
has to be at least 3 points.
Yeah, one has to have at least 3 points on one side. You can kill 2 little spikes, it's crazy.
That's insane. That's insane.
And then season lasts until February the 10th. So from October 14th or 15th to February 10th. If you really wanted to, you could take your bow out and kill a doe a day, and then when firearm season comes around, kill a doe a day. I don't know what you would do with all of them, but But up until about 5 years ago, I guess it was about 5 years ago, you could kill a buck and a doe a day, and at one time you could kill 2 does. Yeah. You could kill 2 does a day or a buck and a doe a day.
And we didn't have any kind of tag system.
No tagging.
Anything.
Yeah, there was no tagging. We just went to a tagging system, kind of electronic. You could do it with your phone or a piece of paper. It's kind of it's almost an honor system to me. I mean, there's no check stations or any of that kind of stuff.
They did change the rules. Like if you take your deer to a processor, they're supposed to have your permanent kill number, and the game warden can't come by and check or whatever. They kind of implemented that. That's been 2 seasons, I guess. About 2 seasons. 3.
Okay.
So. It's kind of a different world down here compared to north. Of course, who wants to deer hunt in minus 50? I wouldn't want to do it. So
at least it gets cold enough to hang your meat there. Yeah. You can't hang nothing here. Don't get.
Yeah, you just hang it in a tree and you move on.
I guess so.
Just fine.
We have
we got a tagging system, and it's by county, so it depends each year how many tags the per county gets. They supposedly do some sort of investigating on what counties have more and less. And then, there's years that I've heard people that put in that don't even get one. They don't pull them. And it's ridiculous because then you're driving down the road and you see in a 15-mile span, you see 7 dead ones on the side of the road that got hit by a car. And then you're telling me we have no deer here. And it's like, well, it's hard to believe.
And that's what you said. We were staying outside of Rapid City when we came up, but we would drive out of Custer State Park. I spent a lot of time over there because I do like wildlife. But I saw hundreds, literally hundreds of whitetail There was an alfalfa field. I bet there was 150 out there one evening, and I had to stop in the road and let like 50 cross. They were just crossing the road. You couldn't get by them. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then they tell us that we don't have them and we can't shoot them. And I don't know. I sometimes struggle to believe it, and I don't know. I don't understand. I've never dug into the whys, but it's crazy, like what we can and we can't do. I guess. And they tell us, but it's you see tons of them all of the time, and we don't have any real natural predators to them on our side over here. Like you go to the Black Hills, they got mountain lions. We got coyotes here, but like that's it. You're not telling me that we have enough of them. You see them, you hear them once in a while, but I just don't buy that there's enough to knock our deer population down that much, in a year. But we do run into, there's been a few diseases. I think it was 2 years ago, there was a disease running around our population, and there was a few counties where they wouldn't even let people, they wouldn't let them shoot. Even if they had a tag, they wouldn't let them shoot them. They just pulled it all off for the year, but that was a while ago. But I mean, there is that. We do run into that about every 5 years. We run into that problem up here, but it is what it is.
Well, we've been,
as far as that goes,
we finally had, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's called chronic wasting disease. It started with,
we run into that.
It finally crossed into the northern counties, northeastern counties, I guess, in Alabama. And then they've kind of got a different way. Actually, they're trying to basically kill all the deer, basically what it sounds like to me, out of those counties. So they changed the bag limits and stuff. Now they tell you they don't tell you can't eat the deer, but they don't advise that you eat them. So
Eat him, yeah.
But
I think I'll just pass. I don't think I will. I don't think I would. I mean, maybe if I was starving, I guess.
I'm one of them at 400 degrees. Will kill anything.
See, we're in the South. Everything's fried in the South. You get it hot enough.
That's true.
When it hits that cast iron skillet, it'll go.
So
when you said that so in your spring and your fall seasons for turkey, what would lead you to do spring and not fall?
Well, gobbling.
Well, yeah. In the spring, it's mating season, and the turkeys gobble. You can call them to you a lot easier. They display, I mean, it's totally different. At fall hunting, we only have 2 or 3 counties now that allow fall hunting anymore.
And it's a short.
Yeah, it's very short, and it's a different type of hunting. You got to find the flock, and then you kind of bust the flock up, and then you go sit down kind of after you've busted them up and try to call them back together.
You kind of deer hunt them.
Yeah, it's almost like deer hunting.
Okay, yeah.
So,
which in the spring we more run and gun. Like we hear bird gobble, we try to go to him, cut the distance.
It's almost it's like elk hunting, but with a bird.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way.
So you're you're stalking it then.
Yes. You see them on an elk hunt, they'll bugle, and they bugle back. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense.
So.
Makes sense. Yeah.
We, so that's what it is. I've never elk hunted. I've only saw elk, there's some elk in Tennessee. We don't have any elk in Alabama, but there is some in Tennessee, North Carolina.
Yeah.
But
West River would have them. I know there's guys that pull them out here that go out there in that part of the world and they shoot them. I don't know, not a lot, but I know that we have some out there. But yeah, I've never got in on that.
Well,
at all.
At Custer State Park, I did find a herd, and they were, they were in rut, so they were bugling, and the cows were calling. They were chasing them around on the side of the hill. I guess it was fun to watch since I never got to see that before.
Yeah.
So
there's a massive amount of different stuff. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you've got 2 guys from Alabama on. I mean, you've got to want to know something about the Deep South here. What's a dying question you've always wanted to ask a couple of redneck guys from Alabama?
And we're not married to our cousins.
No, not married to a cousin.
Well, I think you answered a lot of my listeners' questions right there. I mean, I didn't have to ask it, but I think you probably answered a lot of them.
Now
the main question for most of them.
Now, most of us are branch kin down here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that's probably related to each other closer than they would want to admit. But you know,
we call it branch kin down here, where everybody pisses in the creek and it meets the other one, and then we're all kin to each other like that.
So,
I gotta ask. I've never had it. Do you guys actually eat frogs down there? Is that a legit thing? Do you go like
frog legs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You do? Okay.
Oh wow. There's all you can eat buffets has got all the frog legs you can eat, kind of like crab legs.
Yeah.
Crab. Yeah.
Okay.
They're actually pretty good.
And it's
I think I'd honestly eat frog legs over crab legs. Crab legs take too long for me.
Well, the frog legs,
I can't do it.
Going frog gigging is pretty fun. I mean, it's actually a pretty fun deal.
Yeah.
You said frog what?
Gigging.
G-I-G, yeah.
Yeah, gigging. So you got like a pole, and it's got a forked gig on the end of it, and you gig them from the boat while they're on the bank.
Yeah. Generally do it at night.
Yeah.
Well, it is at night, and you take your lights, and you can see their eyes, and they stab them with the gig. It's just a little
3-prong.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well,
they make a fish gig too. I mean,
they do that with flounder down on the coast. They'll gig flounder.
Okay.
And
I mean, we call it. We do the same thing up here through the ice. We call it spearing. I've never heard it called gigging though.
Is the spear got a fork, like 3 or 4 prongs on the end of it?
It's got 3 on the end of it. Then you got a rope in the one. You got the rope, yeah, and then you'll just cut a big square hole in the ice, and then you'll watch, and then you'll be spear it. Yeah,
I saw the meat eater guys doing that on one of his shows where they were.
Yep.
They were doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what fish they were actually doing that with, but
did it look like a gig?
A lot of times up here.
Well, I mean, the water's so deep they have to have a rope on it.
Yeah.
So
Here it's just a long pole, maybe 12, 15 feet long, maybe shorter.
Yeah. I mean, we've put them on the end of old paint roller sticks. I mean, just whatever you got, cane pole, whatever.
I had to work when I was.
They're a little bit smaller though. I mean, they're probably only 3 inches wide.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Okay, yeah. Ours are a little bit bigger. I mean, and then we're usually chasing down like northern pike mainly because that would be like the biggest fish option you would have here to hit with that. Other than that, they're all going to be fairly small. You know, and the northerns get pretty big. I mean, other than that, I know on the river, I think they've talked about doing like sturgeon and stuff, but I've never actually seen that I mean, I've talked to a couple guys that said they've done it, but I've never confirmed it. But we do it on some of our lakes around here. It's just tough because we have really crappy water. Most times it's tough to get it real clear. So then it's real popular out west because like Sylvan Lake and all them, they're fairly clear, nice lakes. Here it's just, we call our lakes, they're basically sloughs with some water. Like they're nothing, it's not lakes. We got a couple nice ones, but other than that, it's nothing special.
So is bow fishing a thing there? Does many people bow fish? Yeah.
Yeah, they do. It was a trend really trendy about 5-6 years ago, and now it's kind of falls off. And a lot of it's just it'll be like the Asian carp that are here. They'll just get them in the streams. That's usually what they do. They don't get too crazy. You do every once in a while see a boat out on the water at night that's got the light set up around it and they'll be out actually doing it, but it's not, I mean, a big thing for us.
It's pretty big here.
Those guys is it?
Oh yeah.
What kind of fish?
We've got carp and we've got alligator gar.
Yeah, gar, carp.
Oh yeah.
I think you can. I mean, you can't do any of like the bass. I don't think you could even do catfish, but maybe you can do a catfish. I don't know, but I know gar and carp and buffalo. It's like a big drum. They're called a drum. It's just a big silvery fish. But yeah, that what people used to consider trash fish, I guess. They allow that, and of course some grass carp. They turn loose some grass carp here. I don't think we have any of the Asian carp anywhere, and they're afraid they're going to get in Pickwick up here.
Yeah,
but so far we haven't.
Yeah,
had
they're
any
here,
of
and
those.
they're here, and they're every stream, every little piece of every creek gets bad every year. I mean, we get them and they run, and then people go spear them. But then there is a lot of people, I mean, that actually do eat them. They smoke them, and it actually isn't. I've had it. It's not too bad. But I don't know how many people actually do that, other than if they just use them for, I don't know. But there is a couple different populations up here that do actually, they will eat them. Most of their, what they eat is that, and they just come here and they fish them like crazy. I mean, off of any bridge you got, they fish them with a rod and a reel.
Really?
They just snag them.
Oh, they're snagging.
Usually.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's pretty popular. They do it quite frequently when they're running pretty heavy in the year. But yeah, that's it. Other than that, no. I mean, usually, like I said, if you got a guy that's out with a legit setup for that, he's not from here. He's just up here on vacation and decided to drag his boat with him for some reason, probably. But no, don't. Pretty much just regular old being out on a boat, pulling jigs is pretty much all we do. And then we got walleye.
I love
crappie.
Fishing walleye and crappie. Walleye and crappie is probably my two favorite. We don't have walleye here, but I travel.
Yeah, we got.
I travel.
That's one of our more popular ones.
The walleye, yeah. Well, I travel up to northern Ontario almost every year. I didn't go this year. Up to a little lake called, well, I can't pronounce its whole name. It's some long Indian name. They call it KB Lake, and it's Gambly or something. It's a long name, too long for me. And yeah, it's no smallmouth or anything like that. And it's all, you're either catching whitefish, perch, pike, or walleye.
Yeah.
So, and they got some pretty nice pike. I think the biggest one we've ever caught up there was nearly, well, one guy caught one just a little over 40 inches, and I've caught a couple of 26-inch walleye up there, and that's a big walleye for the lake.
That's a massive walleye.
Yeah. Well, I've caught two that would go 26. Now, you know, we release those. We won't keep anything to eat unless they're 17 inches or under.
Yep.
And so, great eating.
That's most of what we can keep around here too, is about that. It depends on the lake. A lot of the lakes have their own rules depending on, but most of it is 17. I've never caught anything bigger than an 18 as far as the walleye goes. Pike, it ranges. The biggest I've probably ever caught here was mid-20s. We went up to Lake of the Woods up there in northern Minnesota, right on the border.
Oh, he was on the boundary.
A few years ago. Yep. We went up there, and this is, well, probably longer than that, probably 6 to 8 years ago now. And we stayed out on the water in an ice shack, and we caught one northern. There was 3 of us in the shack. We had 6 lines in the water. He wrapped every one of them up, and he was 38 or 39.
Oh,
he
wow.
literally wrapped every line up that we had. Like we all thought we had a fish, and come to find out we had one fish. So, and then we tried to, we were going to try to release him, but we ended up having to eat him that night because he ate one of my buddy's very nice lures, and he was not going to about let him to keep that. So we had to perform surgery and get a lure out of that thing. So we ended up eating him, but that wasn't fine. But yeah, they get massive up there.
Oh, they do. But
we don't. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, they're huge.
I've only eaten pike once. You know, they're so bony. And
yeah,
I had one of my friend up there. He guides up there on the lake for the group we go, or the place we go fish. It's Watson's. You can look them up. It's Watson's KB Lake Lodge or something like that. But he showed me one time how to clean a pike and come when you finished, there was no bones in it. And he said, I'm only going to show you once because I'm not going to, well, I won't say what he called it. But basically he said, I'm not going to handle one of those slimy SOBs to anymore. He loves to catch them, but he showed me I couldn't do it now. It's been so many years ago, but I did eat that fish, and it was a pretty tasty fish. Not as good as a walleye though.
Yeah, no, walleyes are the cream. I know there is a few of the older fellows around here that do know how to clean the northern with, and they're good. I don't know how to either. I've been shown multiple times. I'm more like, I like to catch them. I like to fight them, and I like to throw them right back. So that's the fun in catching them. They fight more than anything. You get walleye. They don't put up much of a fight. The perch up here, they don't even the big ones. There's no fight there. So that's the thrill of a pike is that you get to fight him. He gets to roll, and that's the fun part.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's why we have so many bass fishermen here. The lake I live on is a very, very deep lake. I mean, there's places, probably 300 feet deep in this lake. And are
you serious?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's up until, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago, they dammed it up. It's really a flood control lake, but it was the largest earthen dam in the world until they built one in China or somewhere that was bigger. So it's just filled in all these hollers and it was real hilly country. So yeah, it's they've turned loose now. But they've done it for probably 30 years, 40 years now. They've been turning loose hybrid, saltwater hybrid strike, and they get 40 pounds maybe. Yeah, I mean, I've never caught one that big. I've caught one close to 20. That's what I do.
I think they've been some here that's over 50.
Yeah, I don't know what the lake record is, but they grow huge. I think the strain they're using now don't get quite that big.
They put on a fight.
And I got my boat. I can look out there. I haven't got to take it out much. When you do heating and air work in the summertime, you're pretty busy here because it stays hot. So I don't get to. But I get out and troll, and that's really the reason I live up here. I like that kind of fishing. I don't really care about bass fishing, or I will. I like to fish for crappie and bluegills and that kind of stuff. Even catfish. The hybrid stripe, that's something else. It's a whole industry. There's a lot of guides that people will charter trips with them and go out. It's fun, and I would say they're much like a big northern. You get one in the upper 20s, mid 30s northern. That's about what a 20 pound, a 15 pound stripe will. It'll strip your line off your reel. I mean, it's fun. It's really fun.
Yeah. I can understand. That's crazy. 300.
I'll tell you. I lived. They draw the lake down in the winter because we get so much rain, and they try to, keep the rivers from flooding. But my first house here it would go dry in the winter. They would drain it down, so it was you couldn't take a boat in and out. I sold that place and bought a home 2 houses down, and I've got 20, 25 feet of water year round. And then I can go less than 100 yards out into the lake from my house, and it's 120 feet deep. So and then, like I said, there's whole forest. When they fill the lake, they cut the trees off of the shoreline, but at the bottoms and all, they left there. You can go across with your sonar, and you can see whole forest still standing down in there.
Yep.
It's amazing. They've been there since when they built the lake in the 50s. Yeah, somewhere and finished it close to 1960. So yeah, they're there, and if you drown, they rarely find you if you get down in those trees.
Yeah, I would say. Yeah, I think our deepest lake here, well, in my part of the world for sure, maybe 12 feet at one little inkling of a spot. You'll get 12 feet. The rest 6, 8. Maybe, and then it goes down from there. We're talking 3-4 feet deep.
But are your lakes? Most of your lakes are natural lakes, so right? I mean, they're not man-made dams. Most
reservoirs. All of them are.
Yeah.
No. Well, Yeah, they're dammed off. Well, like in my part of the world, they are, because we're right off of the Big Sioux River. So like that feeds into some of them, and then they feed back into it. It does kind of like an off jet into ours. Basically, my part of the world would probably be considered like an overflow for that. And then they dam it off at those. So like they sometimes cause it to become deeper than it is, but no, they're all natural. I mean,
Okay.
nothing was created. They just use them to control the overflow, but I don't think I would be terrible if I didn't quote, but don't quote me, but I don't think we probably have any that were man-made.
Okay.
Over here. Just because of the fact that, like, in all reality, we have two rivers. We have the Big Sioux and we have the Mighty Mississippi come through. And other than that, like, we don't have, it's actually not even
Well, I know
the Missouri River. Yeah.
when we were leaving, we stayed in a little town called Rockersville when we were in South Dakota a couple of weeks ago. That's where we actually turkey hunted out of. But me and my wife, oh, that was my phone. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. But we were on our way to Deadwood. You know, we were doing the touristy things. And we did cross a dam, and it was an impoundment, I guess. You know, maybe they backed it up for water or something, but it was a big lake, but it wasn't a giant lake not compared to some of the lakes we have down here. So
probably Sylvan Lake.
it may have been.
I think
I
that's
can't
the
remember
one.
the names.
Yeah,
I was just starting to learn my way around without Google Maps. But it was time to go home. So.
That's how it always is.
Yeah, I know. That's the way it is. I travel some for work, and I have to go to some of these conferences and stuff. And just about time you learn your way around a resort or one of these big giant hotels somewhere, it's time to get on the airplane, come home.
Time to go. I'm actually going out. My wife and me and the kids are actually going out to that part of the world here next month. And I'm set to record with a few people out of that part of the world, mainly Deadwood, meeting with and recording with their Chamber of Commerce, their Historical Institute, and then one of the bigger casino concert venues out there too.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be out there.
Deadwood's full of casinos. Everywhere we went was a little casino here and there. Of course, there was a bigger one.
It is.
But when we were there, we went. Go ahead.
Deadwood's like our mini Vegas here.
Okay. I got a friend that actually he will fly to Rapid City and he stays in Deadwood. He goes up there, I don't know how many times a year. A lot. He loves Deadwood, and nothing against Deadwood, but after I've been around it, 2 or 3 hours, I was ready to go see something else. I mean, we went up, went and seen
Crazy Horse.
No, I'm talking about was it Buffalo Bill got killed there in Dead Horse?
Yep.
I saw his grave. Went to the cemetery, and kind of saw his grave, and
then Wild Bill and all them are up there.
Yeah. They're all.
Yeah.
So it was fun. I mean, I'm not a big gambler, so the casinos don't.
Yes. So if you're not that, then it pretty much fizzles out fairly quickly, because after you see like the museums and that kind of thing, then it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
It's a neat little town.
Oh no, it reminds me of
It's cool.
Gatlinburg in Tennessee. There's a place up in the Smoky Mountains called Gatlinburg, and it kind of reminds me of that town. Mm-hmm. So how it's set up and laid out, one main, the historical street and all that kind of stuff. So it's a neat town. Don't get me wrong. We had a good time, and it's not that I don't like gambling. I just hate losing. So
I hear you there. For sure. No, it's tough because there's a lot of, you get into like Custer and Hill City and all them, and they're beautiful and they're fun. And then there's just a lot to do, and there's a lot to take in a small amount of time. Usually,
we went, we did that. We went to Hill City. We rode the train from Hill City to, what was the other little town's name? Anyway, it was a little steam engine ride, about an hour there, an hour back. And just, we tried to do all the touristy things. We're going to come back because apparently the last weekend in September, they do a big buffalo roundup out in Custer State Park. And
they do.
She is
every year.
She wants to see that roundup for some reason. So I'm sure we'll go back. We've decided we're going to start trying to do a trip like that. We may go like to Jackson Hole next year, maybe try to do a little bit of Yellowstone. But I got a feeling we will end up, our first stop will be at Custer. We might stay a day or two and watch the roundup and then go on to Jackson Hole or something.
Yeah, I've never been to that, but I've heard that it is an amazing thing to go see. I've only ever seen pictures and videos, but I've heard it's amazing to see.
Everybody said you had to see it. And then, if I'd have known it was happening, we probably would have delayed our trip and would have went on out, at the end of the month. But who knew?
Yeah. No, it's big. The governor comes in and all that fun stuff. So they make a whole deal out of it. And they say it's cool to watch. Well, I don't know. I someday we'll have to. Maybe when our kids are a little bit older and they can actually enjoy it. We're in that phase right now where you drag a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old along and they don't know what's going on, and then you're trying to wrangle them while they're wrangling buffalo. Seems like it'd probably be a nightmare, but
yeah, you're right.
Maybe it wouldn't.
They probably would be more intrigued with the prairie dogs than the buffalo.
Exactly. Shoot. Well, gentlemen, I greatly appreciate you guys taking the time to sit down with me.
We've enjoyed it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
As I tell everybody.
You don't need to know anything else about the Redneck South. I mean, this is your opportunity.
Well, I think what we'll do, because like I tell everybody, this won't be your last time here.
Okay.
I'll sit on that, and I'll come back with a good one next time.
Okay.
We don't have to explain
the
our
frog
football
thing really
team.
intrigued me.
We don't have to explain our football team. They're just good.
Yeah, football is
good.
College football is king here. So
Yeah, it's very true. Yes, very true. And that you don't have to explain it. I think everybody understands. The problem with that is I got nothing to compete with you there, because we ain't got nothing. I mean, I guess I could say that within the division we play in college football, or we got back-to-back reigning champs here, but that's about it. And we're on a little drop in comparison to where Bama's at.
Well,
so.
I did learn something that, our coach is from South Dakota.
That is truth.
Kayla DeBoer grew up in South Dakota, I guess. So I didn't know that until I went up there.
We're going to have to go.
That's very true.
Prairie dog hunt. We're going to have to go on one of those. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. Yep. And them are easy to line up, because it's about like probably hog hunting. People would probably pay you to come and shoot them.
Yeah.
Because they're an absolute nightmare. Like they rip stuff up. Them ranchers out there would absolutely love you to come out and kill those things.
I've got a friend that
I would not.
He actually built a custom rifle to come out there prairie dog hunting, and that thing. I mean, hey, I'm talking about drive thumbtacks with that joker. I don't even remember what caliber it was now, but it is something else. He said he was tearing everybody up out there with that thing.
Man, it's a good time. Yeah, we'll definitely have to line it up.
Okay. See, that was a pretty interesting podcast. Seth is a super nice guy, and I feel sure we'll be talking again soon. And anytime we have a question about wild game or the Midwest culture, he's going to be our go-to guy. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoy doing it. And before I close out here tonight, I do want to ask you guys to say a little prayer for all the people suffering down in Florida, Georgia, Carolinas, Tennessee, even parts of Alabama. This storm is one for the record books. Praying for no loss of life. It'll be done well out of here when this podcast airs, but just remember to say a little prayer for my partner in crime, Dustin, as he's down there trying to help get the power back on for all these people that's been affected, and for all the people that live in this place been affected. We've all been through our own storms, but nothing like this. when they say storm, it's a storm. And I just pray for everybody down there, and I hope you'll do the same. And until next week, Meeting Two Nation, I'm out of here.